Hello, Tuesday. I've dragged this out of the BP Statistical Review to give us an idea on oil prices. I think it's a very good idea to have these oil prices and through the decades set in our heads so we know really that there is something really weird going on at the moment. And I've found that this might work for most people. I think have probably got it, but this might help. I've yellowed up the Brent oil price to use, and the dates on the far left there. So when the Brent was used as benchmark for the first time, it was at 12.80 a barrel in 1976. Now we know, due to things that were going on in the Middle East, there was a price hike, and in 1980 the price had gone up to 36.83, which caused the Great Recession of 1981 and the problems of that era. So 12.80 went up to 36.83, with obviously the prices in between not being higher or lower, and then all the way down to 1998, prices still staying within that band between the opening 12.80 and the really high 1980 price of 36.83. Nothing goes above or below those prices until 1998, where it breaks to the low side. It breaks in 1998 at 12.72, cheaper than it was when it first opened in 1976. And then the price rattles around again within that band until it breaks to the upside in 2004. So it breaks to the upside in 2004, higher than it was in 1980. But those are that's the first time it really breaks out of that band that was set in 1976 to 1980, between 12.80 and 36.83. So it's broken to the upside in 2004, and then it goes and goes. 54, 65, 72, 97. That 97 is the average number for the really big summer price of 148 in the summer of 2008. The average price for 2008 was 97, and that caused and was part of the credit crunch, which dropped the price really, really low the next year, 2009, down to 62. Then it's increased again to 80 and 111. What I'm trying to show clearly here is that since 2004, there is something shockingly different going on in the price of Brent crude. And obviously that's reflected in Dubai, Nigerian and WTI as well. Okay, so let's look at this in chart form, same from the BP Statistical Review, but going all the way back to when oil was invented. Pennsylvania, they started bubbling it out of the ground, found lots of uses for it, obviously restricted supply because they'd only just started, so the price was high. But obviously as they put more rigs in, found it was easy to get out, and then Russian exports came on, Sumatra, Indonesia came on, and then Texas Spindletop came on, and by that time basically they could get more supply out than they possibly needed, and the price stayed low all the way up until the Middle East political crises of the 70s and 80s, which made the price go up. That light green is the inflation adjusted price. So the inflation adjusted price 1980, that's where it really spikes up to what we had, the 36.83 price in 1980. But then the political things settled down and there was plenty of oil, so the price came right down again to that 1989 price of 12.72, the lowest price that there'd ever been. But then since 2004 it's gone up and up, and the only time it came down was in the credit crunch of 2009, and it's still really going up and up, just to show that when it comes to real, just glug oil coming out of the ground, it is a lot more expensive than it ever used to be. Except for a funny little moment in 2008 where it was due to political crises. But when the market could just about function as normally it normally functions, As it's functioning now, it's manipulation, and there's always something going on in the world. But that taken into account, now it's more expensive generally than it's ever been. And there must be a jolly good reason for it. And I think the jolly good reason is because the supply is just not there to be had anymore, compared to the consumption that is desired. Right. Imports and exports, again from the BP Statistical Review, last that I'm taking from that, just to show how huge these are imports, because we don't want to go into Saudi Arabia's exports and whatever. The United States imports, I've gone over on the right, and these are thousands of barrels a day. So because it's over 1,000 in the numbers that we've presented, it's millions of barrels a day. So just under 9 million barrels a day are imported into the United States. Just over 9 million barrels a day are imported into Europe. And obviously I'm showing this because 9 million barrels a day is a lot of money. And this is what makes money so important. Who's going to accept this money stuff for this bang, pow, wonderful oil stuff? And that's a tricky balance. China, 5 million barrels a day. India, 3.5 million barrels a day. Japan, 3.5 million barrels a day. Even Singapore's over 1 million barrels a day. And the rest of other Asia Pacific Rim countries at 4.5 million barrels a day. Lots and lots of money for this wonderful oil stuff. Right, let's move on. New York, America is shoveling coal to the sidelines, obviously for gas. The fuel that powered the United States from the Industrial Revolution into the iPhone era is being pushed aside as utilities switch to cleaner and cheaper alternatives. The share of US electricity that comes from coal is forecast to fall below 40% for the year, the lowest level since the government began collecting this data in 1949. 4 years ago it was 50%. By the end of this decade it's likely to be near 30%. The peak has passed, says Zhongling Wang. They're obviously switching over to gas and natural gas. And obviously there's going to be more demand for that natural gas, so the price is going to go up on the natural gas. And because so many power stations are going to use it, they're going to use lots and lots and lots of this. And it's going to disappear shockingly fast. Right. I'll finish with this one. Solar boom heads to Japan, creating $9.6 billion market. I won't go into it. I'll just say that governments love this sort of thing. They don't understand many things, but they know that people like the idea of green. And Japan, $1 billion market, $10 billion market here. So that's got to be good. Everything about it's got to be good. We'll get renewable energy and people will work and do more stuff. I think somewhere along the line these G20 people will put forward some plan that if you spend money on green energy, that'll be on a special account on your national accounts, and it won't really count to your debt to GDP or something like that. They'll come up with some way of spending money so it doesn't really count against them. And if anything's going to tempt them into it, it will be this green revolution that's going to save the world and make politicians extremely popular. The only thing that they are missing to create this new world is money. Lots and lots of money. And strange, because you can create money just like that. But politically, it's very tricky. That's it. Bye.